County, where the problem is not only overcrowding, but also poor living conditions for the inmates. Chris Kanangla is now standing by at Deer Island House of Correction with more on the situation. Chris?
Thank you, Liz. As you said, we're here at Deer Island House of Correction, and behind me is Hill Prison, one of several buildings here at the Deer Island complex. This one houses some 350 inmates out of a total population which hovers around 450 to 480 all year round. Deer Island is one of two prison facilities in Suffolk County, both of which are at the center of controversy, both of which are under court order to improve conditions for inmates. The jail case has been ongoing for years. It is antiquated and overcrowded. In the past, attempts have been made to relocate the jail, but to date there has been no agreement for re-siting. So the courts are pressing the county to build a new jail on the present site on Charles Street. The other jail is on Deer Island, which has seen one sort of penal facility or another here since the 1600s. The present buildings date back to the mid to late 19th century. There are currently two suits pending here concerning physical conditions and lack of adequate programs for inmates. In the outer lobby of Hill Prison, a recently installed $300,000 smoke and fire detection system doesn't work properly and is plagued by false alarms. In the east wing of the building, there are only 2 showers for 90 inmates. The cells are small and very dark. Many of the toilets don't flush. Despite the need for space due to overcrowding, as many as 20 cells a day are unusable. In the west wing, bare bulbs hanging from exposed wire are the only source of light in many cells. Rats are a big problem, as one inmate explained, and without adequate ventilation, the cell block is cold in winter and very hot in summer. The dining hall is small, the food too starchy, not enough vegetables, not enough meat or fish. The one recreation room is inadequate and poorly heated in winter. The City Council appropriated $3.5 million 2 years ago to fix many of these problems. Councilor Dapper O'Neill, who heads the Council's Public Safety Committee, says he is furious the problems still exist.
I think it's a national disgrace. I've said it before. It ought to be torn down right to the bottom and start all over again.
But rather than tearing it down, of course, the penal commissioner has asked for a budget which calls for a 10% increase in an attempt to solve many of these problems, a budget increase which Dapper O'Neill says he is in favor of granting. We will talk now with Bob Walsh, who is the penal commissioner of Suffolk County. We'll talk about the budget in just a second, but while we still have this picture of Hill Prison here behind us, there were some other problems which you did not see on the tape. In particular, one problem which would involve the safety of inmates if they had to be evacuated in a hurry, that namely the problem with the locks on the doors.
We are concerned by the fact that in the event of an emergency, we would have to individually lock every cell in both wings of the prison. There is no gang locking system that operates at the present time, and the installation of one and securing funds for the same is something that we're focusing on at the present time.
We mentioned 2 suits pending about Deer Island, one about the facility itself, another one referring to programs. Tell us briefly what that's all about.
The inmates and their attorneys have alleged that the programs at Deer Island do not meet the needs of an inmate population, and at the present time, the plaintiffs' attorneys and attorneys for the city and the state are in the process of working towards a consent decree. At the present time, a group of experts is being proposed to Judge Quirico, and it's our hope that that group of experts can come into the prison, do an assessment, and hopefully make some recommendations for changes in the programs that we offer the inmate population by August.
Let's talk about another facility, and let's swing the camera over here so we can see what you call the dormitory facility. Now there are 2 buildings, one of which was designed to house inmates, but the one on the left was not designed with that purpose in mind at all.
Correct. The building on the left was originally designed to be a cow barn, but it has been renovated to be a dormitory, and each dormitory houses 36 inmates today, and
what are the problems in this particular facility here?
Inadequate showers, inadequate toilet facilities, and as the count goes up, we are from time to time required to increase the count in the dormitories.
We noticed that a number of the doors didn't go all the way to the floor, and you were saying that in the wintertime they are quite drafty, and there certainly is no privacy at all for any of the inmates in this facility.
I've been told, I'm new on this position, but I am told that it does get quite chilly in those dormitories in the winter, and we're concerned about that, and I think you can see us repairing the doors and maybe look at sealing the place up.
Let me ask about the budget request that you have made, which calls for a 10% increase. With this extra money, which apparently the City Council is disposed, at least Dapper O'Neill is, to grant, what can you do with this money? What do you intend to do with this money?
Well, it is our hope that the budget request that we have made will enable us to do the kinds of things that need to be done. But we said to the City Council that one of the keys to doing the best possible job in the upcoming fiscal year is the development of outside resources that could perhaps provide some services free of charge or at a reduced cost, universities, churches, citizens group, and hopefully by doing those kinds of things we can get the maximum utilization out of the requested funds.
Bob, you have said that this prison is the worst that you have ever seen, but in the same breath you have also said it is the one that perhaps has the most potential. Tell about that.
Well, there are some real serious troubles here, but we think that if we return to basics, nuts and bolts to corrections, if you will, that this administration, in an effort to provide services not only to the public, not only to the inmates, but to the staff as well, can do the kind of job that the people of Suffolk County and the city of Boston would expect to be done at their institution.
Thank you very much, Bob Walsh, Penal Commissioner for Suffolk County, for being our guest today, live on 4. Next week on Wednesday, Dapper O'Neill says that he will be approaching one of the committees that has oversight over how money is spent here at this prison facility to find out how the $3.5 million appropriated 2 years ago was in fact allocated, and whether or not there was mismanagement and what can be done to improve conditions not only here but at the Charles Street Jail as well. That's the story from Deer Island. We return to the studios now, and Liz Walker. Liz?
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Turning from social...
It is quiet now there, and as New England News reporter Marty Sender learned while he toured that overcrowded facility today, the problems that led to this week's flare-ups remain.
To walk through the Deer Island prison as I did today is to observe a long inventory of unsafe, unsanitary, and uncorrected problems, most of which go back decades. They include a fire alarm system that doesn't work right, plaster that's falling out of the walls and ceilings, inadequate plumbing and shower facilities, exposed electrical wiring, and a rat infestation problem so bad inmates say foot-long rodents run free at night. One inmate, a veteran of other jails, says Deer Island is the bottom of the barrel, a place not fit for humans.
They can't help nobody in there. How are they going to fix this place up? Just look around here. How are they going to fix this up? Really? There's no way. The place is too far gone.
In the dormitories, the major complaints have to do with heating and plumbing. Again, the same litany of problems. In addition, broken windows, doors, even walls.
The pipes are all old, cranky. There's breaks in the steam pipes all along the whole route. There's no way they can keep the place warm. All the doors are broken. The doors are just like shells.
Suffolk County's new penal commissioner says reforms and renovations are doable.
So we're going to do basic things here in the next 3 months, in the next year, and I think that return to basics with a focus will pay off for the inmate population, the public, and the staff.
For now, however, the problems at Deer Island seem to cry out as much for a wrecking ball and a new start than reforms. But reforms are the only short-term hopes. Marty Sender, the New England News, Deer Island.
But officials say money alone will not solve the problem of overcrowding. The 131-year-old prison was built to house 236 inmates. Today, more than 450 prisoners are behind Deer Island's bars.
We still have a lot more to come.
Center Pete Brock took 4 liters of IV. He couldn't finish the game, no problem.
Stallion, Doherty were bumping. That's a second, so 2 apiece on Doherty.
Not what we're looking at right now. Somebody was roasting. This isn't the right take.
Just remember my leg.
That was the safety. Don Blackman coming up with it right there. Made it 12-0. Then in the 4th, Craig James. Reed.
We've got so many weapons out there that it's just going to take time for us all to get used to playing with each other, and we're close. We really are. We had those guys on the ropes several times, and they kept fighting though. They wouldn't give up, and we've got to learn a killer instinct and be a championship team and not make the mistakes late in the game like we've been doing the last 3 weeks.
A scare just like BC yesterday. 26-20 the final. We will have more highlights and locker room reaction later in sports.
Also a big day for Pete Rose.
Pete Rose and tennis. We've got it all coming up.
Got it all. Okay, thanks, Cindy. And, of course, Cynthia will be back and tell us more about Pete Rose and all the wonderful things that's going on in sports. Of course, the Patriots opening day brought thousands of people to Foxborough.